have a seat first. All right, go ahead. The nice thing about the scriptures is they have a little bit of everything for all of us. And I very much appreciate and encourage y'all to be mindful of the scriptures that Senator McGill just focused on. I tend to focus on the ones concerning Jesus and the money changers in the temple, where havoc was wreaked. Okay, and that's what I think we need to be doing with respect to these folks who are in Washington, who are in Montgomery, and in your own location here in the courthouse of Jackson County that are doing so much damage to our country. I want you all to think about, for just a moment, what it is that has made America the greatest nation the world has ever seen. And quite clearly, we've been there for at least 6 decades, maybe 7 decades, okay? Economic wealth, military prowess, individual freedoms. No one has been able to match that in the history of humanity. And I would submit to you that there are some foundational principles that put us there. 1, we're a republic with a constitution. 2, the Bill of Rights, the underlying premise being that a government that can give you everything can take everything from you. So we need something to protect us from that excessive government power. 3 would be the free enterprise system that allows us to excel. It gives us the opportunity to do what we wish with our lives and to make profit if that is what we wish to do with our lives. That profit, of course, or wages, whatever you want to call it, being what enables us to take care of our family better. And 4 would be the moral values that are the compass that help us do the right thing as opposed to the wrong thing. There have been plenty of great nations in history, but we are the ones who had that moral compass. We have done the right thing with the power that God has blessed us with. So many others have done the wrong thing, and they've collapsed either internally or because of war. Now let's talk about those 4 foundational concepts or principles that help make us a great nation. Let's talk about our being a republic with a constitution. What has this administration in Washington done with respect to the Constitution? Well, when it comes to voter rights and voter suppression, while we aggressively pursue people who intimidate voters, this administration dismisses Justice Department actions against voters in Philadelphia who bring weapons to the voting booth to intimidate people into not voting. While we want to make sure that only lawful people can vote, this administration files lawsuits against states who want to have voter identification that would cull out those that illegally vote. Senator Al Franken would be an example, probably, of an individual who is not in the United States Senate lawfully, because if you remember the election contest, how many counts they had to have until the Democrats were able to steal enough votes to ensure that he won as opposed to the Republican incumbent. And if you've seen the study recently on how many of those voters that the Democrats counted that had criminal felony convictions and were not allowed to vote, those were enough just in that one category of identifiable felons who voted to swing the election to Al Franken rather than who should have been the rightful person in office. With respect again to our Constitution, it sets forth executive branch powers, judicial branch powers, legislative branch powers. Nowhere is there in the United States Constitution the empowerment to the executive branch to ignore and disobey the laws of the land. Yet this president does exactly that. He does that with respect to illegal aliens, where he says, oh no, I'm not going to enforce that. He does that with respect to the Defense of Marriage Act, where he says, oh no, I support homosexual marriage. I'm going to disregard the law of the land. Now you can have a debate over homosexual marriage throughout the United States of America, but that debate needs to be in the halls of Congress. And we had that debate, and the result was the Defense of Marriage Act. But this president says, oh no, I'm not going to obey that law. When it comes to work permits being issued to illegal aliens, this president says, I know the law says that you can't issue work permits to illegal aliens, but I'm going to do it anyways. That's what I mean by undermining the United States Constitution. So those 4 pillars, this White House, this president undermines the things that we value. When it comes to the Bill of Rights, where do you think this president is on the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms? He would undermine that, given the opportunity. When it comes to religious freedom, where do you think this president is on religious freedom? Well, with his Obamacare, that forces the Catholic Church to participate in things that are directly contrary to their religious beliefs. This president wants to file lawsuits or engage in whatever activity is necessary to force the Catholic Church to give up its religious beliefs in violation of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. So we know where this president and his party is when it comes to the Bill of Rights. He wants to undermine the Bill of Rights whenever he feels it convenient to do so. Let's talk about free enterprise versus socialism. We have a gentleman here who fought in Korea. That's an excellent example, that peninsula, of how free enterprise works and socialism does not. You had that entire peninsula decimated, its industrial base destroyed, as the North Koreans and the Chinese went all the way to the south, and we went all the way to the north, and all the way back to the south, and finally the 38th parallel, which is the border between South and Korea now. South of that parallel, they believe in free enterprise, where if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to get a good education, study hard, and you're willing to take a chance, you can make a pretty good living. Well, that free enterprise system has worked well for South Korea. They're prosperous. Their people are well fed. They have good housing. They have good clothing. Their kids can get a good education. Then you go north of that demarcation line, where they believe in socialism. And what's been the result? Their people are starving. They have a depressed economy, if you want to call it economy at all. Yet this White House, he wants to impose socialist values on America rather than protect and promote the free enterprise system that has made us such a great nation, that has given us the economy to do so much with, including have a strong national defense. So that third pillar is under attack by this White House, and I don't want to limit it to this White House, by the entire Democratic Party from Jackson County to Montgomery to Washington, D.C.
That's right.
Okay? And the fourth pillar, moral values that guide you to do the right thing rather than the wrong thing with the power that you're blessed with. We don't need to go into examples. Everybody here knows that this White House wishes to undermine the moral principles that America has held for more than 2 centuries and has protected us and enabled us in so many different ways. So every single principle that we believe in as Americans, every single principle that has made us the great nation that we are, this White House and his Democratic Party wishes to destroy and undermine them. And then they scratch their heads as they can't figure out why so many first unwed mothers are going through the roof. Why, with our economy, we have the worst recovery in the history of America after a recession, with unemployment now being at 8% for a record number of months. And they scratch their heads. Well, we have the answer. The answer is to get to those basic principles that made us a great nation. So I'm Mo Brooks, and I'm running for the United States Congress, and I need your help. More importantly, our local candidates here who have put their names on the line, they need your help, and this is the chance where Jackson County can elect public officials who share the values that America has held close to them